course not. I'm busy.
Commissioner Fade Vincent was more concerned with preventing cocaine and marijuana abuse. And the powerful Major League Baseball Players Association, now led by Don Fade, was vehemently opposed to any mandatory steroid screening program as a violation of their members' right to privacy. As a result, professional baseball players were free to take whatever they wanted, with no fear of punishment.
The notion that we would willingly surrender to our employer as the price of a job, all the protections we insist on from the government, is a rather extraordinary notion.
The Players Association did a horrible job in this case. They should have seen this early on and said, wait a minute,
Yeah, that was
how
nice.
can we expect some of our players to compete at a competitive disadvantage or force them to make the horrible choice of running whatever risks there may be to their health or their reputations or whatever it may be to either use to keep up or don't use and inevitably fall behind? Who is it that we represent? The guilty or the innocent?
It's my belief that the bees that existed in the 90s existed in the 20s, that Babe and all his friends would have jumped in.
That was not even modern form.
And so would Mays and Dale and the people in the 50s.
Baseball
If you're
tickets
looking
modern
at that
form
and
in
saying to yourself,
1947.
I'm 35, I'm making $3 million a year as a backup midfielder.
The reason why he hit all those home runs is because pitchers threw
if I take this
lotuses.
stuff, I could play another 5 years and make another $15 million for my family and for the fact the rest of my life. Why would you not do it? He would have done anything to get to the big leagues before. He'll do anything to stay in the big leagues now. I think that's both very human and also very true of anyone with the kind of personality that gets to the top of an athletic profession.
We live in a time when we think everything can be cured by a medication.
If you want to talk about a performance-enhancing culture, let's look at Viagra. Let's look at Levitra, all of these things that are advertised on daytime TV. This is the time we live in. We believe that modern medicine can make us supermen. If our favorite ball players have succumbed to societal pressures to improve themselves, they are no worse than we are.
People get upset. Who in the whole country wouldn't take a pill to make more money at their job? You would. If I, hey, there's a pill and you're gonna get paid like Steven Spielberg, you would take the pill. You just would.
It hasn't been easy being a Giants fan.
That's the roof of the dugout.
I ask myself the question all the time, why do I care so much? Honestly. It has to be a character flaw on my part, a vice or just a weakness. The Giants have been in San Francisco, my home region, for 50 years, and we don't have a single world championship to show for it. They haven't won the World Series since 1954 when they were in New York, and I'm middle-aged now, and I'm starting to wonder if it's ever going to happen in my lifetime.
Ever since they had moved to San Francisco's Candlestick Park, the Giants had struggled to draw fans to the coldest and windiest stadium in the majors. In 1992, owner Bob Lurie demanded that the city build him a new park, and when they refused, decided to sell the club to investors who would move it back across the continent to Florida. Then, Peter McGowan, a former supermarket magnate, bought the team and promised Lurie to build the Giants a new ballpark. He then began searching for a star, a high-profile free agent who could attract the legions of fans he would need to pay for his new stadium.
Good news for Giant fans. Baseball's richest contract handed out. National League Most Valuable Player, Barry Bonds, agreed to a 6-year contract with the Giants worth in excess of $43 million.
It was a Saturday night. I was home. I was watching television, and there was a news flash that the Giants were going to sign Barry Bonds. Are you kidding me? Because the Giants had a chance to sign him coming out of high school in the Bay Area. and they wouldn't pay the price. I mean, if someone had told us at the time, we would have gladly passed a hat and signed him for the money. So when he came back, we thought, okay, we've closed that miserable chapter, and now maybe we have a chance. And I was aware of his reputation, but I didn't care.
I can't say how excited I am to have the opportunity to go back home and have something to share with my family and the city that I grew up in. My godfather, Willie Mays, it's like a boy's dream that comes true for me.
He chose to wear his father's old number, 25. And a few days later, the Giants announced that Bobby Bonds himself would be rejoining his old team as hitting and first base coach. Bobby had sworn off the drinking that had derailed his career and complicated his relationship with his family, and was happy to be back in professional baseball alongside his son.
Well, he hit a home run in his first at-bat at Nelson Park, and they won the game in dramatic fashion. And from day one, he was playing on a level that I had never seen before.
First at-bat before the new hometown fans.
And so Barry Bonds put that team on his shoulders, and he hit 46 home runs that year, and it was just, every time they needed a dramatic home run, he was there.
Bonds did exactly what Peter McGowan was paying him to do. He batted .336 and led the league with 46 home runs and 123 RBIs, all career highs. He was named MVP for the third time. He was making baseball fun again in San Francisco.
70 home runs.
But for all of Bonds' greatness, the Giants would make the playoffs only once in the 1990s and never reach the World Series.
It's part of being a Giants fan. In lieu of a championship, we had Barry Bonds, right? And it was one of many bargains that Giants fans have made with themselves to get over the fact that there's no title. So from 1993 forward, Bonds became the next best thing.
Baseball's economic model, individual teams generating their own revenue and keeping as much of it as they could, predates television, radio, flight, the internal combustion engine. It goes back deep into the 19th century, and it is utterly unsuited to the modern age.
In 1994, the Montreal Expos looked like the next great baseball dynasty. They were loaded with young talent. Moises Alou, Larry Walker, Marquise Grissom, Pedro Martinez. And they posed a serious threat to the Atlanta Braves, the best team in the National League. By the end of July, the Expos seemed unstoppable. They were led by Moises Alou's father, Felipe.
Well, that's the best team I ever managed at any level. We had a club that we developed through our minor league system. We had tremendous pitching, we had defense, and I was young and eager and a very hungry and healthy club.
Montreal was not the only city where great baseball was being played that summer. In San Francisco, Barry Bonds' teammate Matt Williams hit home runs at a furious pace.
Good?
Possibly on track to break Martin Harris's single-season record of 61. In San Diego, Tony Gwynn, the Padres' superb right fielder, had been hitting so consistently that he had been able to keep his batting average above .390. By August, it seemed he might do what no one had done since Ted Williams in 1941, hit .400 for the season. But then, developments off the field stole the spotlight. Ever since the players had formed their union in 1966, tensions with the owners had steadily escalated. There had been a strike or a lockout every time they had had to negotiate a new contract. And over the years, court rulings had given the players more and more power. Now, in the middle of the 1994 season, the two adversaries were embroiled in their bitterest contract dispute yet.
It became carnivorous. A terrible legacy grew up where it was expected that when the collective bargaining agreement expired, the two sides would be at daggers drawn and you would have a work stoppage. This bitterness and suspicion festered because a number of owners, frankly, were unreconciled to the existence, not just this or that behavior of the union, the existence of the union.
Why did they want to break the union? Because then they could go back to setting the salary levels, and over any significant period of time, the difference in their revenue would be measured in billions of dollars.
Desperate to unify their own ranks, the owners, who had also been squabbling among themselves over revenue,